Today on Japan Story, we're talking about the massive impact that COVID-19 has had on the Japanese tourism industry. Before the pandemic, Japan enjoyed record numbers of international tourists, but then the borders closed. Now, new vaccines are raising hopes that they'll open again soon, and tourism agencies are bringing influencers on board to help attract visitors to not just the big cities like Tokyo and Kyoto, but also the lesser known spots. My guest today is John Daub, a popular YouTuber and influencer who has lived in Japan for over 20 years. Hello, John. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
So what has it been like in Japan's tourist spots during the pandemic?
It's really quiet. At first, it was quite refreshing because there really are a lot less people in these attractions, these places. But over the last, 6 months or so, it's kind of lonely. It feels too quiet, almost like a ghost town at some times of the day.
What has the impact been on the hospitality and tourism industry?
From what I have seen, some of them have been able to weather it and some of them have not. Just looking at a place like Akihabara, for example, they had shifted quite a bit from around 2012, 2013 to international tourism geared towards that. A lot of electronic shops had tax-free shops. They would sell electronics, all sorts of gadgets, souvenirs. A lot of those places are gone. And I don't know if they're going to be coming back.
So how have foreign influencers in the past, like on YouTube and Instagram, helped build awareness of Japan over the last few years?
Well, when I started in 2013, there was content about Japan, but a lot of the YouTubers at that time weren't hitting more of the, like really unusual parts of it. I'm talking like toilets and vending machines. We'd seen over the last 5 years since I started in 2013, we've seen a lot of those topics covered quite well. I guess it was around 2018, I started to see a lot more YouTubers start to go out to the countryside, to the rural areas, because Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, a lot of the urban centers already have tons of content. What I'm seeing is a lot more influencers going to places like Tohoku, Kyushu, Shikoku, some of the islands, outside of the city centers. And this has been really great because it's opened up a lot of business opportunities for rural areas that really didn't have anywhere else to go. The populations are shrinking. The people that are still there, the average age might be 60 years old or older. A lot of those young, energetic people had gone to the cities and stayed there after university. So this had added some life into these regions, especially up in Tohoku, which was quite hurt after the Great Tohoku earthquake in 2011.
So going forward, how do you think foreign influencers might help promote Japan? What kind of opportunities might exist for them?
Food is a huge thing that influencers have been doing for years. I don't think it's actually been tapped enough. Japanese cuisine, beyond sushi, beyond tempura, beyond takoyaki, maybe, there's like so many different kinds of cuisines. There's even more. A lot of the cuisine is regional too. And there's a lot of foods that people don't know about. You might be hearing kiritampo for the first time, which is a very regional dish up in Akita that has like fire-grilled rice dumplings inside of it that is so good. In the future, new attractions are always coming. I think there's going to be other businesses that are filling in these holes that are right now gapping because of the pandemic. And it's kind of exciting to see. It's, of course, sad to see the businesses that saying goodbye to them, but I think it's really exciting to see the possibility of what could take its place at the time of the Olympics and beyond.
And you mentioned a lot of spots, especially in Tohoku just then, and a lot of people coming into Japan as tourists will be thinking of Japan as being Kyoto, Tokyo, maybe Hiroshima. When you think of Japan, where are some of your favorite spots?
When I think of Japan, of course, Tokyo is the first thing that comes into your mind. Kyoto, the urban centers, of course. But I always think, I think back at what my impression of Japan was before I came here. And it was something of, I guess, Zen. There's a real peacefulness outside in the countryside that you can't find in these places that are on the cover of all of these guidebooks. That to me is what Japan is. And so like I can discover it in regional cities like Kanazawa, which is a wonderful alternative to Kyoto. Osaka is considered Japan's kitchen, but go down to Fukuoka and you're going to find amazing cuisines in another one of Japan's biggest cities in Kyushu, one that I think a lot of people don't give enough attention to besides its ramen. There's a lot more down there. And I'm sure you might ask me what my favorite places are, but what I think of Japan now, I think of the food, I think of the people, I think of that peacefulness, and I think of something a lot bigger than what you might be thinking right now. I think, in fact, if you're listening to this and you're considering where to go next in Japan, just start saying all 47 prefectures is like 47 different countries and get your passport out and try to stamp it. Well, don't use a real passport. I don't know, make one up, I don't know. But start going around and try to hit every single one of them and trying the regional cuisine and food. To me, that's what Japan is. It's 47 different prefectures, and it seems much, much bigger now than it did when I first came here.
When do you think people will be able to travel to Japan again?
Well, with my audience, that's the number one question that I get asked like every 5 minutes. Like a lot of the comments are, when can we come back to Japan? And I'm always hesitant to give an answer because I've been wrong before, because I'm a very optimistic person. But we're now over a year into this pandemic, and we have the vaccine, and we have we have more knowledge about this. I do think we have turned the corner. I would say limited tourism by the end of spring, as we ramp up for the 2021 Olympics. The Olympics itself will not have a lot of spectators or people going there. I think it's going to be very limited in scope as well. And then tourism will return on a much greater scale after the Olympics, and probably in 2022 in the spring, it looks like it'll be back to the way maybe it was in 2019, but I'm a super optimistic person.
Well, thank you so much for your insights into travel in Japan and the future of Japan post-pandemic. It's been a great conversation, and I've really enjoyed having you on.